There are places you think you already know, until you see them from above, from within, and from a distance that changes everything you believed about them. Pakistan is one of those places. A land where silence can feel louder than cities, where mountains rise so high they cut through the clouds, and where ancient history still sits quietly beneath modern life. A place where every direction leads to something unexpected, and every landscape tells a different story. From the glowing streets of Lahore to the frozen heights of K2, from the calm waters of Hunza Valley to the endless silence of Thar Desert. This is not just geography. It is contrast. It is scale. It is life in its most raw and powerful form. You don't just travel through Pakistan. You move through time, through culture, through nature that feels untouched, and stories that feel still alive. In the north, the air becomes thin, and mountains rise like walls between earth and sky. In the south, heat bends the horizon, and deserts stretch beyond what the eye can hold. In the cities, history and modern life share the same streets, the same noise, the same breath. And somewhere between all of it, something becomes clear. This land is not defined by one identity. It is defined by many worlds existing together. Over the next journey, you will move through ancient civilizations, towering peaks, hidden valleys, sacred spaces, and landscapes that feel almost unreal. Each place revealing a different side of the same story, a story that has been shaped over thousands of years, yet still feels unfinished. So don't watch this as a simple travel film. Watch it as an experience. Because once you enter this journey, you don't just see Pakistan, you start to feel it. There are places you think you understand until you see them with your own eyes. Pakistan is one of those places. A land often defined by headlines, yet hiding a depth of beauty, culture, and history that few truly experience. And the moment you arrive, everything you thought you knew begins to change. This is not just a journey across a country. It is a journey into something real, something layered, something unforgettable. As the first light of morning spreads across Lahore, the city slowly awakens with a rhythm that feels both ancient and alive. The call to prayer echoes softly through the air, rising above rooftops and narrow streets, setting the tone for a day that blends tradition with motion. The sky turns from deep blue to warm gold, touching domes, minarets, and colonial-era buildings that stand as reminders of time layered upon time. The streets begin to fill. Vendors roll out carts loaded with fresh fruit, spices, and street food that carry the scent of tradition. Motorbikes weave through traffic with practiced precision, while pedestrians move with purpose, each one part of a system that seems chaotic at first but quickly reveals its own order. There is energy here, but it is not overwhelming. It is alive, walking through the historic heart of the city. The past becomes impossible to ignore. In places like Lahore Fort, massive walls rise with quiet strength, holding stories that stretch back centuries. The architecture is detailed, deliberate, and powerful. Every arch, every carving, every courtyard designed with intention. You don't just see history here, you feel it. Nearby, the beauty of Badshahi Mosque reveals itself in full scale. Its vast courtyard opens wide, framed by towering minarets and red sandstone that glows under the rising sun. Standing here, there is a sense of space, of calm, of something far greater than the city surrounding it. People move quietly, some in prayer, others simply observing, but all connected by the atmosphere this place creates. And yet, just beyond these grand structures, life continues in its most vibrant form. The streets narrow as you enter the old city, where markets stretch endlessly in every direction. Shops overflow with color textiles, jewelry, handcrafted goods, each one reflecting a piece of culture that has been passed down through generations. The sounds grow louder, voices blend together, and the air fills with the rich aroma of food being prepared right in front of you. This is Lahore at its core, a place where history is not preserved behind glass, but lived daily, where tradition is not something remembered, but something practiced. And as you move through it, you begin to understand it is defined by layers, by contrast, by the coexistence of past and present. As the day continues, the intensity softens slightly. The morning rush fades into a steady flow, and the city reveals quieter moments hidden between its busy streets. In shaded courtyards, people gather for conversation. In small tea stalls, time seems to slow as cups are shared and stories exchanged. There is a sense of connection here that feels genuine, unforced, part of daily life. The light begins to change again as afternoon moves toward evening. The golden tones of sunset reflect off historic walls, turning familiar places into something almost cinematic. The massive structure of the Badshahi Mosque glows under the fading light, while the silhouette of the fort stands strong against the sky. And then, as night begins to fall, Lahore transforms once more. The city does not quiet, it shifts. Lights appear along streets and buildings, casting a warm glow over everything. Markets remain active, voices continue, and the energy takes on a new form. In places like the famous food streets, the atmosphere becomes even more vibrant. Flames rise from grills, spices fill the air, and the sounds of cooking, laughter, and conversation blend into a rhythm that feels alive in a completely different way. Here, food is more than just nourishment, it is culture, it is connection. It is an experience shared between people, bringing together flavors that tell their own story. Sitting among locals, tasting dishes prepared with care and tradition, you begin to feel something deeper than just observation. You feel included, and as the night deepens, the city continues its flow. From the quiet moments of prayer to the energy of the streets, from the grandeur of its history to the simplicity of daily life, Lahore reveals itself not as a single experience, but as many, each one adding to the next, creating something whole. Standing in the heart of it all, there is a realization that begins to form. Pakistan is not what you expect. It is more complex, more beautiful, more alive. A place where stories are not just told, they are lived every single day. And as this first chapter comes to an end, with the city still moving under the glow of night, one thought remains clear. This is only the beginning. Beyond Lahore lies a land of towering mountains, hidden valleys, ancient civilizations, and landscapes that feel untouched by time. A journey that will take you far beyond what you imagined, into the true wonders of Pakistan. There are mountains that look beautiful from a distance, and then there are mountains that redefine what beauty and power truly mean. In the far north of Pakistan, beyond the cities, beyond the roads that feel familiar, lies a world where nature exists on a scale that feels almost impossible to comprehend. A world shaped by ice, stone, and time itself. And at the heart of it stands one of the most formidable peaks on Earth, K2. The journey toward this region does not begin with arrival. It begins with distance. As you move deeper into the Karakoram, the landscape starts to change in ways that feel gradual at first, then sudden. Green valleys give way to rocky terrain. Rolling hills transform into sharp, rising peaks. Rivers grow wilder, carving their way through narrow gorges with koa that can be felt even from a distance. The air becomes cooler, thinner, carrying a crispness that feels untouched. Every breath reminds you that you are moving closer to something immense. Villages become fewer, smaller, more remote. Stone houses cling to the edges of mountains, built not for comfort, but for survival. Life here is shaped entirely by the environment. Harsh winters, short summers, and a landscape that offers both beauty and challenge in equal measure. And then, as the journey continues, the mountains begin to close in. They rise higher, steeper, more defined. Their peaks are no longer distant shapes. They dominate the horizon, filling your entire field of view. Snow and lead cling to their surfaces, creating patterns that shift with the light, revealing textures that feel ancient and untouchable. This is the Karakoram Range, a place where some of the highest mountains on Earth stand together, not in isolation, but as a collective force. Each peak holds its own identity, its own story, but together, they create a landscape that feels overwhelming in its scale. And somewhere within this vast expanse, K2 rises. At first, it is not obvious. Surrounded by other towering giants, it blends into the skyline. But as you move closer, its presence becomes undeniable. Its shape is sharper, more defined. Its slopes steeper, more unforgiving. It does not invite challenges. Unlike other famous peaks, K2 carries a different reputation. It is not just high, it is dangerous. Its conditions are unpredictable, its weather unforgiving, and its ascent among the most difficult in the world. But standing here, none of that feels like a warning. It feels like truth. This mountain is not meant to be conquered easily. The silence around it is deeper than anywhere else. There are no crowds, no shum of constant movement, only wind moving steadily across the slopes, carrying a sound that feels both distant and present at the same time. The ground beneath your feet is rough, uneven, shaped by years of lead and rock shifting against each other. Glaciers stretch across the valleys, their surfaces cracked and textured, moving slowly in ways that are almost invisible, yet constant. Walking across this terrain feels different. Every step requires attention. Every movement is deliberate. It's not just about reaching a destination, it's about understanding where you are. And then, there is a moment, a pause in movement, a stillness that allows you to truly see what stands before you. K2, rising into the sky, untouched, unyielding. Its summit often hidden behind fast-moving clouds, as if it chooses when to reveal itself and when to remain unseen. It does not dominate loudly. It exists quietly, with a presence that speaks without needing to be heard. There is something humbling about this place. It strips away distraction, removes anything unnecessary, and leaves only the essentials: earth, sky, Vazduch, and the realization of how small you are within it. Yet, at the same time, it does not make you feel insignificant. It makes you feel connected, part of something larger, something that exists far beyond human control. As the day moves forward, the light changes across the mountains, revealing new angles, new shadows, new details. The peaks shift from bright white to shades of gray and blue, their surfaces constantly evolving under the movement of the sun. Clouds gather quickly here, wrapping around the mountains in moments, hiding entire sections of the landscape before drifting away just as suddenly. It is unpredictable, dynamic, never still. And then, as evening approaches, the transformation becomes even more striking. The last light of the sun touches the highest peaks, turning them into glowing shapes against a darkening sky. K2 stands quietly in the distance, its Vershina catching the final rays, shining briefly before fading into shadow. The temperature drops quickly. The air becomes sharper, colder, more intense, and with it comes a silence that feels almost complete. Stars begin to appear above the Karakoram, faint at first, then brighter as the darkness deepens. The sky opens wide, revealing a vastness that mirrors the scale of the mountains below. Standing here, in one of the most remote regions on Earth, there's a realization that settles in. This is not just a place of extreme beauty. It is a place of truth. A place that shows nature in its most raw, most powerful form. A place that does not adapt to human presence, but remains exactly as it is, demanding respect, patience, and understanding. K2 is not just a mountain. It is a symbol of what lies beyond comfort, beyond expectation, beyond the limits we often place on ourselves. And as the night takes over, with the mountains fading into darkness and the sky filling with stars, one thought remains clear. Some places are not meant to be fully understood, only experienced. There are roads you travel, and then there are roads that transform the way you see the world. In the far north of Pakistan, carved through mountains that seem almost impossible to cross, lies a route that is more than just a connection between places. It is a journey through scale, through history, through landscapes so vast they feel beyond imagination. This is the path along the Karakoram Highway. The journey begins where the land starts to rise. At first, the road feels familiar, winding gently through valleys where rivers flow steadily beside it. Small villages appear along the way, their presence grounding in a landscape that is slowly beginning to change. The air is fresh, the sky wide, and the mountains, though distant, are already hinting at what lies ahead. But as you move forward, everything begins to shift. The road narrows, curves become sharper, and the mountains grow taller, steeper, more dominant. The river beside you transforms from a calm flow into a powerful force, cutting through the terrain with relentless energy. Its color shifts to a deep, glacial blue, carrying sediment from distant Ledniki, connecting everything in its path. The scale begins to reveal itself. Cliffs rise dramatically on either side, towering above the road in sheer vertical walls of rock. The highway, carved into these mountains, feels almost impossible, like a thin line drawn through a world that was never meant to be crossed. And yet, it exists. Every turn brings a new perspective. One moment, you are driving alongside a roaring river, the sound echoing through the valley. The next, the road climbs higher, revealing vast landscapes that stretch far beyond what the eye can fully process. Peaks appear in layers, each one rising behind the next, creating a sense of depth that feels almost endless. This is not just a road, it is an experience. As you continue, signs of human presence become more rare. Villages grow smaller, more isolated. Stone houses cling to the edges of mountains, their existence shaped entirely by the terrain around them. Life here is not easy, but it is deeply connected to the land. In places like Pasu, the relationship between people and mountains becomes clear. The famous Pasu cones rise sharply in the background, their jagged peaks cutting into the sky with precision. They are not just landmarks, they are part of daily life, a constant reminder of the environment that surrounds everything. The road continues upward, deeper into the heart of the Karakoram. Landslides, shifting rocks, and unpredictable weather are all part of the journey. This is not a controlled environment. It is dynamic, constantly changing, shaped by forces that move far beyond human control. And yet, the highway remains adapted, rebuilt, maintained, a testament to human determination in the face of nature's scale. As altitude increases, the air becomes thinner, cooler. The landscape grows more rugged, more raw. Vegetation fades, replaced by rock and ice. The colors shift to shades of gray, brown, and white, creating a palette that feels minimal yet powerful. And then, there are moments of stillness. Places where the road levels out, where the shum of the engine fades, and you are left with nothing but the vastness around you. Standing here, looking out across valleys carved by ancient glaciers, there is a sense of perspective that is difficult to describe. You are not just moving through this landscape, you are part of it. The Karakoram Highway is often called one of the most dangerous roads in the world, but it is also one of the most beautiful, not in a simple, easy way, but in a way that challenges you to pay attention, to be present, to truly see what is around you. As the day moves forward, the light changes, revealing new dimensions of the mountains. Shadows stretch across valleys, peaks glow under the sun, and the entire landscape feels alive with subtle movement. Clouds drift quickly across the sky, sometimes hiding entire sections of the view, only to reveal them again moments later. And then, as evening approaches, the transformation becomes even more dramatic. The sun begins to set behind the mountains, casting a warm, golden light across the rocks. The peaks take on deeper tones, their edges softening as shadows grow longer. The river below reflects the changing colors, creating a scene that feels almost unreal. The road continues, winding forward into the fading light. There is no clear end in sight, only the sense that this journey is part of something larger, something ongoing. The Karakoram Highway does not simply take you from one place to another. It reveals a world that exists beyond the familiar, beyond the expected. As darkness begins to fall, the sky opens once again, revealing countless stars above the mountains. The road becomes quieter, the movement slower, and the experience more reflective. Standing at the edge of this vast landscape, with the highway stretching into the distance and the mountains rising on all sides, there is a realization that settles in. This was never just about the road. It was about what the road allowed you to see. A world of scale, of power, of beauty that cannot be fully captured, only experienced. And as the journey continues into the night, one thought remains clear. Some roads don't just take you across distance, they take you somewhere far beyond it. There are places that feel beautiful, and then there are places that feel almost unreal, as if they exist somewhere between imagination and reality. Hidden deep in the mountains of northern Pakistan, surrounded by towering peaks and endless skies, lies a valley that has quietly earned a reputation as one of the most breathtaking landscapes on Earth. This is Hunza Valley. The journey into Hunza begins with a shift. After hours along rugged mountain roads, the terrain opens slightly, revealing a valley that feels softer, more welcoming. The towering cliffs give way to a wider horizon, and for the first time, there is a sense of space not just above, but around you. The air feels lighter, cleaner, carrying a calmness that is almost immediate. And then, the mountains appear. Not distant, not hidden, but surrounding you completely. Massive peaks rise on every side, their Snezhny summits glowing under the sunlight. Among them stands the iconic silhouette of Rakaposhi, its immense face stretching upward with a presence that feels both powerful and serene. This is the magic of Hunza. It is not just the beauty of the landscape, but the balance within it. The contrast between harsh mountain peaks and the gentle green of the valley below. Between the scale of nature and the simplicity of life that exists within it. As you move deeper into the valley, the details begin to reveal themselves. Terrace fields stretch across the earth, carefully shaped by generations to grow crops in a place where the terrain offers little naturally. Apricot trees line the paths, their blossoms adding soft colors to the otherwise rugged surroundings. Water flows through narrow channels, bringing life to every corner of the land. In villages like Karimabad, life unfolds with a quiet rhythm. Stone houses stand strong against the mountain winds, their design practical, yet deeply connected to tradition. The people move through their day with a calm confidence, shaped by a lifestyle that values simplicity, community, and balance with nature. There is a sense of peace here that feels different. Not silence, but harmony. Children play in open spaces, their laughter echoing softly through the valley. Elders sit together, sharing stories, their presence carrying a sense of continuity that stretches across generations. Travelers pass through, drawn by the beauty of the place, yet often staying longer than planned, pulled in by something harder to define. Above the valley, ancient structures stand as reminders of its long history. Balti Fort overlooks Karimabad from its elevated position, its wooden balconies and stone walls blending into the landscape as if they have always been part of it. From here, the view stretches across the entire valley, revealing layers of mountains, fields, and villages that seem to exist in perfect balance. Nearby, Balti Fort tells an even older story. Its presence feels quieter, more rooted, offering a glimpse into a past where survival depended entirely on understanding the land and adapting to its conditions. As the day unfolds, the light shifts across the valley, revealing new textures and colors. The mountains change from bright white to soft gray. The fields glow under the sun, and the sky remains wide and open, creating a sense of space that feels almost limitless. Time moves differently here. It is not driven by urgency or schedules, but by the natural flow of the day. Morning light, afternoon warmth, evening calm. Each moment carries its own rhythm, its own purpose. And then, as the sun begins to set, Hunza reveals one of its most powerful moments. The golden light spreads across the valley, touching the peaks first, turning them into glowing giants against the sky. Rakaposhi and the surrounding mountains take on shades of orange and pink, their Snizhny surfaces reflecting the last light of the day. Below, the valley softens. Shadows stretch across the fields, the air cools, and a quiet calm settles over everything. It is a moment of stillness, of reflection, where the entire landscape feels connected in a way that is difficult to explain. As night begins to fall, the sky transforms once again. Without the interference of city lights, the stars appear in overwhelming numbers, filling the sky with a clarity that feels almost unreal. The mountains fade into darkness, becoming silhouettes against the vastness above, while the valley rests quietly beneath them. Standing here, in a place that feels so far removed from the noise and surat of modern life, there is a realization that settles in. Hunza is not just a destination, it is a feeling, a reminder that beauty does not have to be overwhelming to be powerful. That simplicity, when aligned with nature, can create something truly extraordinary. And as the night deepens, with the valley resting under a sky full of stars, one thought remains clear. Some places don't just show you the beauty of the world, they show you what it feels like to be part of it. There are places that look beautiful, and then there are places that don't look real at all. A place where the water glows in shades you didn't think existed, where mountains rise sharply from the edge of a lake that feels almost too perfect to be natural. In northern Pakistan, hidden within the rugged terrain of Hunza, there is a place that seems to defy expectation at first glance. This is Attabad Lake. But what makes this place truly powerful is not just its beauty, it's its story. The journey toward the lake begins along a winding mountain road, where the landscape carries a sense of rawness, rocky slopes, narrow passages, and towering cliffs that feel both dramatic and unforgiving. The air is crisp, the sky vast, and the silence between passing vehicles feels deeper than usual. And then, suddenly, it appears. A flash of color so vivid it almost feels unreal. The deep, striking turquoise of Attabad Lake cuts through the earthy tones of the surrounding mountains like a painted line across the landscape. It doesn't blend in, it stands out, demanding attention in the most quiet, powerful way. The contrast is immediate. Dark as Sahur rise steeply from the edges of the lake, their rough textures reflecting years of natural forces at work. Above them, the sky stretches wide and clear, amplifying the brightness of the water below. The entire scene feels balanced yet dramatic, calm yet intense. But beneath this beauty lies a history that is impossible to ignore. In 2010, a massive landslide blocked the flow of the Hunza River, creating this lake almost overnight. Villages were submerged, roads disappeared, and lives were changed forever. What you see today is not just a natural wonder, it is the result of transformation, of the earth reshaping itself in a moment of immense power. Standing at the edge of the water, that reality adds a deeper layer to the experience. The lake is calm, almost perfectly still in some places, reflecting the mountains and sky like a mirror. Boats glide slowly across its surface, their movement creating gentle ripples that break the reflection for just a moment before it returns again. The silence here is different. It's not empty, it's full of history, of change, of resilience. The people who live around this lake have adapted, rebuilt, and continued forward, turning a moment of Razrushania into something that now draws visitors from around the world. As you move along the shoreline, the colors of the water shift subtly with the light. In some areas, it appears deep blue. In others, bright turquoise, almost glowing under the sun. The clarity is striking, revealing depth that feels both inviting and mysterious. Small boats offer a way to move across the lake, bringing you closer to the surrounding mountains. From the water, the scale becomes even more apparent. The cliffs rise higher, steeper, enclosing the lake in a way that feels both protective and overwhelming. Looking up from the surface, the sky feels larger, the mountains more dominant, the entire experience more immersive. It's not just something you observe, it's something you feel. As the day continues, the atmosphere shifts. The light grows stronger, highlighting every detail, the textures of the rocks, the movement of the water, the subtle changes in color across the landscape. Yet, even in the brightest moments, there is a calmness that remains constant. Time seems to slow here. People sit quietly by the water, taking in the view without needing to say anything. Conversations soften, movements become slower, as if the place itself encourages a different pace. And then, as afternoon turns to evening, Attabad Lake begins its most striking transformation. The harsh light softens, replaced by warm golden tones that spread across the mountains. The water reflects these colors, shifting from bright turquoise to deeper shades of blue and gold. Shadows stretch across the surface, creating patterns that change with every passing moment. It becomes almost dreamlike. The mountains, once sharp and defined, soften under the fading light. The lake mirrors the sky, blending colors in a way that feels almost unreal. It's a moment that doesn't need explanation, only presence. As the sun dips below the horizon, the temperature drops, and a quiet stillness settles over the entire area. Boats return to shore, movement slows, and the landscape prepares for night. And then, the transformation continues. The sky darkens, and the first stars begin to appear above the mountains. The lake, now darker, reflects faint points of light, creating a subtle connection between earth and sky. Standing there, in the quiet of the evening, there is a realization that comes naturally. Attabad Lake is more than just a beautiful place. It is a reminder of how quickly the world can change, of how nature holds both creation and destruction within it, and of how, even after the most unexpected transformations, something new can emerge, something powerful, something meaningful. And as the night deepens, with the lake resting quietly beneath the stars, one thought remains clear. Some places don't just capture your attention. They leave a mark that stays with you long after you've gone. There are places where nature feels vast, and then there are places where it feels endless. High above the tree line, where the world opens into a horizon so wide it almost disappears, lies a landscape unlike anything else in Pakistan. A place where the earth stretches without interruption, where the sky feels closer, and where silence carries a presence of its own. This is Deosai National Park. Often called the Land of Giants, Deosai is not defined by towering peaks or deep valleys, but by its openness. Its scale is horizontal rather than vertical, rolling plains that extend as far as the eye can see, framed by distant mountains that seem almost secondary to the vastness below. The journey into Deosai begins with a climb. The road rises steadily, leaving behind the greener valleys and entering a landscape that feels more exposed, more elemental, Vegetation becomes sparse, the air thinner, cooler, carrying a crispness that feels untouched. And then, suddenly, the terrain opens. A plateau stretching endlessly. The first impression is silence. Not complete absence of sound, but a kind of quiet that feels deeper, more expansive. The wind moves freely across the plains, carrying with it a soft, Pastiani rhythm. It is not loud, not overwhelming, but it is always there, a reminder of the scale of the environment. The land itself is textured in subtle ways. Grasses cover the plateau in soft waves, shifting colors depending on the light greens, golds, and earthy tones, blending together into a natural tapestry. Small streams cut through the earth, their water clear and cold, reflecting the sky above in fragments of blue. There are no crowds here, no shum of constant activity, only space. And within that space, life reveals itself quietly. In the distance, a movement catches your eye. A shape, small at first, then clearer as you watch. The Himalayan brown bear, rare, powerful, and perfectly adapted to this environment. It moves slowly across the plain, its presence calm but commanding. This is one of the few places on Earth where such creatures still roam freely. They are not confined, not observed from a distance behind barriers. They exist here as part of the land, as natural as the wind, the grass, the sky. Nearby, herds of wild animals move across the plateau, ibex navigating rocky outcrops, marmots emerging from their burrows, pausing briefly before disappearing again. Birds circle overhead, their calls echoing softly across the open space. Everything here feels balanced, not controlled, not managed, simply existing in a system that has remained unchanged for centuries. As the day continues, the light transforms the landscape in subtle but powerful ways. Under the midday sun, the plateau feels bright, almost endless. The sky becomes a deep, uninterrupted blue, stretching far beyond the horizon. Shadows are minimal, the earth fully exposed, every detail visible. But even in this brightness, there is a calmness that remains constant. Time feels different here. Without buildings, without clear markers of distance, the sense of scale becomes almost abstract. A point on the horizon may be much farther than it appears. Movement becomes slower, more deliberate, as you begin to adjust to the openness around you. And then, as afternoon begins to fade, Deosai reveals another side of itself. The light softens, casting longer shadows across the plains. The colors deepen, turning from bright greens into richer golds and browns. The mountains at the edge of the plateau become more defined, their presence growing as the light shifts. One of the most striking features here is Deosai Lake. Resting quietly within the vastness of the plateau, the lake feels like a mirror placed in the middle of the earth. Its mias reflect the sky with perfect clarity, creating a sense of symmetry that feels almost unreal. Surrounded by open land and distant peaks, it becomes a focal point in a landscape that otherwise feels infinite. Standing at its edge, the stillness becomes even more noticeable. The wind slows slightly, the surface of the water remains calm, and the reflections create a moment of balance between the earth and sky. It is a place that invites pause, not out of necessity, but naturally. As the sun begins to set, Deosai transforms completely. The sky shifts into shades of orange, pink, and deep purple, spreading across the horizon in wide, sweeping colors. The plateau absorbs this light, its tones changing with every passing minute. The entire landscape feels softer, quieter, more reflective. And then, the temperature drops. The air becomes colder, sharper, and the vast openness begins to feel even more profound. The last light fades, and with it comes a darkness that feels complete. But in that darkness, something incredible happens. The stars appear. Without any artificial light, the night sky above Deosai becomes one of the clearest in the world. Countless stars fill the sky, their brightness amplified by the altitude and the absence of pollution. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness, creating a connection between the vast plateau below and the universe above. Standing here, surrounded by nothing but open land and endless sky, there is a realization that settles in. Deosai is not just a place, it is an experience of scale, of space, of simplicity. A reminder that not all beauty is found in detail sometimes. It is found in openness, in the absence of distraction, in the quiet presence of something vast. And as the night deepens, with the plateau resting under a sky full of stars, one thought remains clear. In places like this, where the world feels so wide and untouched, you don't just see nature, you feel what it means to be part of it. There are places where history is written, and then there are places where it still feels alive beneath your feet. In the southern plains of Pakistan, far from the towering mountains and cool northern air, lies a land that holds one of humanity's earliest stories. A place where the beginnings of civilization are not just remembered, they are preserved in silence, waiting to be understood. This is Mohenjo-daro. The journey into this ancient city begins under a very different sky. The air here is warmer, heavier, carrying the scent of dust and earth. The landscape stretches flat and open, with little to interrupt the horizon. It feels distant from the dramatic landscapes of the north, yet just as powerful in its own way. Because here, the story is not written in mountains or rivers, but in what once stood between them. As you walk toward the ruins, the first impression is quiet. Not empty, but still. A silence that feels intentional, as if the past is resting just beneath the surface, waiting to be noticed. Brick structures rise from the ground in geometric patterns, walls, streets, platforms all carefully arranged with a precision that feels surprisingly modern. This was once a city, a thriving, organized, advanced settlement that existed over 4,000 years ago. And as you move through its remains, the scale begins to reveal itself. Wide streets stretch in straight lines, intersecting at right angles. Drainage systems run beneath the ground, designed with a level of engineering that speaks of knowledge far ahead of its time. Houses are built with uniform bricks, each one placed with intention, creating a sense of order that feels almost familiar. It is not chaotic, it is planned. Standing here, it becomes difficult to imagine that this was built in an era often described as primitive. Everything about Mohenjo-daro challenges that idea. It tells a different story, one of intelligence, of organization, of a society that understood the importance of structure, hygiene, and community. As you walk deeper into the site, certain structures stand out. The Great Bath, a large, carefully constructed pool, sits at the center of the city. Its design is simple yet precise, with steps leading down into a space that was likely used for ritual or communal purposes. Even now, thousands of years later, it holds a presence that feels significant. Nearby, elevated platforms suggest places of gathering, of decision-making, of shared life. These were not isolated individuals living separately, they were part of a system, a society that functioned together. And yet, despite all this, there is a mystery that remains. No one knows exactly why this civilization declined. There are no clear records, no definitive answers. Only theories, changes in climate, shifting rivers, gradual abandonment. The reasons remain uncertain, adding a layer of intrigue to everything you see. It is a reminder that even the most advanced societies are not permanent. Time moves forward, and what once thrived can fade, leaving behind only traces of what was. As the sun moves higher in the sky, the heat becomes more intense. The earth warms beneath your feet. The air grows heavier, and the silence deepens. There are no crowds here, no shum of a living city, only the faint sound of wind moving across ancient bricks. But in that silence, imagination begins to fill the space. You start to picture what this place once looked like. People moving through the streets, conversations echoing between walls, water flowing through the drainage systems, life unfolding in ways that were both simple and complex. It is no longer just ruins. It becomes a living memory. As the day begins to soften, the light changes, casting long shadows across the structures. The textures of the bricks become more defined, their colors deepening into shades of red and brown. The entire site takes on a warmer tone, as if the setting sun is bringing the past closer to the present. Standing at a higher point, looking out across the remains of this ancient city, there is a sense of perspective that begins to form. Human history is deeper than we often realize. Civilizations have risen, thrived, and disappeared long before the modern world took shape. And yet, their influence remains quiet, subtle, but undeniable. As evening approaches, the temperature begins to drop slightly, and the sky shifts into softer colors. The horizon stretches endlessly, uninterrupted, creating a sense of openness that contrasts with the structured layout of the city below. And then, as the sun sets, Mohenjo-daro transforms once again. The light fades, the shadows blend together, and the site returns to its quiet state. The past settles back into stillness, leaving behind only the presence of what once was. Standing there, in the fading light, there is a realization that settles in. This is not just an archaeological site, it is a reminder of how far humanity has come and how much has been forgotten along the way. A reminder that progress is not always linear, and that the roots of our world run deeper than we often see. And as the last light disappears and the ancient city rests under the open sky, one thought remains clear. Some stories are not told through words, they are told through what remains. There are places where you observe culture, and then there are places where you feel it move through you. In Pakistan, spirituality is not something distant or hidden behind walls. It lives in the air, in the sound of voices, in the quiet moments between chaos. It is something you don't just see, you experience. As the day begins again in Lahore, the city carries a different kind of energy. Not louder, not faster, but deeper. The streets are already alive, yet beneath the movement, there is a sense of purpose, of connection to something beyond the physical world. The call to prayer echoes across the skyline, weaving through buildings, markets, and narrow streets. It is not just a sound, it is a rhythm that shapes the day, marking time in a way that feels both structured and fluid. People pause, adjust their pace, and for a moment, everything aligns. At the heart of this experience stands Badshahi Mosque, massive, open, and perfectly balanced. The mosque is more than an architectural masterpiece. It is a space that invites stillness. Its courtyard stretches wide beneath the sky, framed by towering minarets and intricate red sandstone walls that seem to glow under the morning light. Stepping inside, the atmosphere changes immediately. The shum of the city fades, replaced by a quiet that feels intentional. Footsteps soften against the stone floor, voices lower naturally, and the sense of space becomes almost meditative. People gather in rows, their movements synchronized, their focus clear. It is not about spectacle, it is about presence. And in that presence, something shifts. It becomes less about observation and more about feeling. Nearby, in the older parts of the city, another layer of spirituality reveals itself, one that is more expressive, more emotional, yet equally powerful. At shrines like Data Darbar, devotion takes on a different form. Here, the atmosphere is alive. Voices rise in rhythmic chants. Drums echo through the courtyards, and people move with a sense of connection that feels deeply personal. It is not quiet, but it is focused. Not still, but intentional. The energy is different from the calm of the mosque, yet it carries the same depth. This is the essence of Sufi tradition, a form of spirituality that emphasizes love, connection, and the idea that the divine can be experienced not just through silence, but through expression, through music, through movement, through shared emotion. As you move through the shrine, you begin to notice the details. People offering prayers, lighting candles, placing flowers with care. Some sit quietly, lost in thought, while others engage fully with the rhythm around them. There is no single way to be here, only presence in whatever form it takes. And that is what makes this experience so powerful. It is not limited. Spirituality here is not defined by strict boundaries. It flows between places, between practices, between people. It exists in both silence and sound, in both stillness and movement. As the day continues, the city reveals smaller moments of connection. A man pausing at a roadside shrine before continuing his journey. A shopkeeper quietly reciting prayers between customers. A group of friends sharing tea. Their conversation blending everyday life with deeper reflection. These are not grand moments, but they are constant. They show that spirituality here is not reserved for specific places or times. It is woven into daily life, into routine, into the way people move through the world. As evening approaches, the atmosphere begins to shift once again. The light softens, casting a warm glow over the city. The call to prayer returns, echoing across rooftops, signaling the transition from day to night. The streets remain active, but the energy changes, becoming calmer, more reflective. At the mosque, the courtyard fills again, this time under a sky that is slowly darkening. The symmetry of the space becomes even more striking, the alignment of people creating a visual rhythm that feels both simple and profound. At the shrine, the energy builds. The sounds grow stronger, the movement more intense, yet still grounded in something deeper. It is not chaos, it is expression. And standing between these worlds, between stillness and motion, silence and sound, you begin to understand something essential. Spirituality is not one thing. It is not defined by a single practice or place. It is a spectrum, a flow, a way of experiencing the world that goes beyond what can be seen. In Pakistan, it is everywhere. In the architecture, in the rituals, in the everyday moments that might otherwise go unnoticed. It shapes not just belief, but behavior, connection, and perspective. And as night settles over Lahore, with the city glowing softly under lights and the echoes of prayer fading into the distance, there is a realization that stays with you. This was not just a visit to sacred places. It was an experience of something deeper, a reminder that beyond landscapes and history, beyond mountains and cities, there is another dimension to travel, one that cannot be captured on camera, but can be felt in every moment. And as the night continues, with the city alive yet calm, one thought remains clear. Some journeys don't just take you across places. They take you closer to something within yourself. There are landscapes that feel alive, and then there are landscapes that feel timeless, as if the world has slowed down just enough for you to notice what usually goes unseen. In the southeastern edge of Pakistan, far from the mountains and rivers, lies a place shaped not by rise or water, but by wind, heat, and silence. A place where life exists against the odds, and beauty reveals itself in the simplest forms. This is Thar Desert. The journey into Thar begins with a gradual transformation. The terrain flattens, the greenery fades, and the colors shift into warm tones of gold, brown, and soft orange. The air becomes drier, carrying a heat that feels constant, pressing gently against your skin. There are no towering peaks here, no flowing rivers, only open land, stretching endlessly beneath a vast sky. At first, it feels empty, but the longer you look, the more you begin to see. Sand dunes rise and fall in gentle waves, shaped by the wind into patterns that are constantly changing. Their curves are smooth, almost fluid, as if the earth itself is in motion. With every step, the sand shifts beneath your feet, creating a connection between movement and landscape that feels immediate and real. The silence here is different. It is not filled with subtle sounds like forests or mountains. It is deeper, more complete. The wind moves across the dunes, creating a soft, whispering sound that becomes the only constant. There are no distractions, no interruptions, just space. And within that space, life continues. In scattered villages across the desert, communities have adapted to conditions that would seem impossible elsewhere. In places like Mithi, life is built around resilience. Homes made of mud and clay blend naturally into the landscape, designed to stay cool under the intense heat. Brightly colored fabrics hang against neutral backgrounds, adding life and vibrancy to an otherwise muted environment. People move through their daily routines with a quiet strength. Water is collected carefully, resources are used thoughtfully, and every action reflects an understanding of the land. This is not survival in the dramatic sense, it is balance. A way of living that works with the environment rather than against it. Children play in the sand, their laughter carrying across the open space. Women walk in groups, their traditional clothing creating striking contrasts against the golden dunes. Men guide livestock across long distances, following paths that have been used for generations. There is a rhythm here, one that is not driven by clocks or schedules, but by the movement of the sun, the availability of water, the shifting of seasons. It is simple, but not easy. And within that simplicity lies a kind of strength that feels deeply rooted. As the day continues, the heat intensifies. The sun rises higher, casting sharp light across the dunes, flattening shadows and revealing every detail of the landscape. The horizon shimmers slightly, creating the illusion of movement in a place that is otherwise still. It is a harsh environment, but it is also beautiful, not in the dramatic way of mountains or forests, but in a quieter, more subtle form, a beauty that reveals itself slowly, through observation, through presence. And then, as the afternoon begins to fade, the desert transforms. The light softens, shadows return, and the dunes take on new shapes as the angle of the sun changes. The colors deepen, shifting into richer tones of gold and orange. The air cools slightly, bringing a sense of relief that feels almost immediate. This is when Thar feels most alive. The wind moves gently across the dunes, reshaping their surfaces in patterns that will be gone by morning. The sky stretches endlessly, its colors blending in ways that feel almost painted. And then, the sun begins to set. The horizon glows with warm light, spreading across the sand in soft waves. The entire landscape takes on a golden hue, creating a moment that feels both calm and powerful at the same time. As the last light fades, the desert enters a new phase. The heat disappears, replaced by a coolness that feels surprising after the intensity of the day. The sky darkens quickly, revealing stars that appear one by one, then all at once. Without city lights, the night sky above Thar becomes vast and clear. The dunes, now dark silhouettes, stretch beneath a sky filled with countless stars. The Milky Way becomes visible, arching across the darkness, connecting the horizon in a way that feels almost infinite. The silence deepens again, but now, it feels different. Not empty, but complete. Sitting on the sand, looking out across the endless desert and up into the vast sky, there is a realization that settles in. This place is not about abundance, it is about meaning. It shows how life can exist with less, how beauty can be found in simplicity, and how resilience can create something powerful in even the harshest conditions. Thar does not overwhelm you. It teaches you. It slows you down, removes distraction, and leaves only what is essential. And as the night deepens, with the cool air settling over the dunes and the stars shining above, one thought remains clear. Some of the most powerful places on Earth are not the loudest or the grandest, but the ones that quietly show you what truly matters. There are journeys that take you across landscapes, and then there are journeys that stay with you long after the road ends. Not because of a single place, but because of everything together: the mountains, the cities, the deserts, the silence, the sound, the people, and the moments in between. This is Pakistan. Not as a map, not as a headline, but as an experience. As the final chapter begins, the journey returns once more to Islamabad. At first light, the city feels calm in a way that is almost unexpected after everything that has come before. Wide roads stretch through green spaces, framed by hills that hold the skyline gently rather than dominate it. The air is cleaner here, the movement slower, as if the entire city has been designed to breathe. But even in this calm, there is depth. The silhouette of Faisal Mosque rises against the backdrop of the Mughal Hills, its modern yet minimalist design blending geometry with scale in a way that feels both futuristic and spiritual at the same time. It does not compete with the mountains behind it, it aligns with them. Standing in the open courtyard, there is a quiet that feels intentional. Not empty, but balanced. The wind moves gently across the space, and the mountains in the distance remind you that nature is never far away here. And as you look back, your mind begins to trace the path you've taken. From the ancient ruins of Mohenjo-Daro, where civilization first took shape in structured silence, to the spiritual intensity of Bachahi Mosque and the living devotion of Sufi shrines, to the vast silence of Deosai National Park, where the earth opens endlessly under the sky, to the mirror-like waters of Attabad Lake, shaped by both destruction and renewal, to the towering silence of K2, where a scale becomes reality, and to the living valleys of Hunza Valley, where life and mountains exist in quiet harmony. Each place is different, but together they form something larger. A country defined not by one identity, but by contrast. Heat and ice, silence and chaos, ancient and modern, fragile and powerful. Pakistan is not one landscape. It is many layered into one experience. As the day continues in Islamabad, the city slowly comes alive. People move through parks, markets begin to open, and the rhythm of daily life returns in soft waves. It is a different kind of energy compared to everything seen before, not overwhelming, but steady. And yet, even here, the influence of everything behind the journey remains, because travel does not just show you places, it changes the way you see them. A street in Islamabad feels different after standing in the silence of the Karakoram. A moment of calm feels deeper after witnessing the vastness of Deosai. A city skyline feels smaller after looking up at K2. Perspective shifts quietly, without notice. As the afternoon light grows warmer, the Margalla Hills begin to glow. Trails wind through the green slopes, where silence and nature meet just beyond the edge of the city. It feels like a threshold between urban life and wilderness, between structure and freedom. Standing there, looking across the capital, there is a sense of completion forming. Not an ending, but a full circle. Because the journey was never only about distance. It was about contrast, about understanding how many worlds can exist within one country, how history, nature, culture, and belief can sit side by side without losing their identity. As evening approaches, the light softens once again over Islamabad. The mosque, the hills, the roads, and the skyline begin to blend into warm tones. The city does not slow down completely, but it settles into something calmer, more reflective. And in that quiet, the final realization arrives. Pakistan is not defined by a single view or moment. It is defined by everything you have seen and everything you have felt along the way. The heights where silence replaces sound. The valleys where life feels balanced with nature. The deserts where simplicity becomes strength. The cities where history still breathes. And as night finally settles over the capital, there is a sense that this journey is no longer just behind you. It is something you carry forward. Because the true power of travel is not in what you see while you are there, but in what stays with you when you leave. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.